Growing up in Britain during the 60s and 70s wasn't just about black and white telly, school milk and Sunday roasts. It was about the sayings, those familiar phrases that echoed through every kitchen, hallway, and playground. They weren't just words. They were lessons wrapped in humor, love, and a dash of British wit. Today, we're taking a warm stroll down memory lane to relive 15 British sayings that truly shaped our childhoods. 1. Shut the door. Were you born in a barn? Every child in Britain heard this at least once, usually shouted across the house as the winter breeze rushed in. No one had ever seen a barn, but the meaning was clear. Don't waste the heat. In homes heated by coal fires or old storage heaters, every bit of warmth was precious. That little phrase taught us manners, awareness, and the value of comfort, lessons that still echo every time we close a door behind us. 2. Money doesn't grow on trees. It wasn't said cruelly, just with that firm, knowing tone parents had. Pocket money was earned, not plucked from branches. In the 60s and 70s, wages were tight, and families stretched every pound. This phrase was less about money and more about respect. Respect for work, for value, and for what your parents provided. Even today, it rings in our heads whenever we stare at a price tag or an unexpected bill. 3. Eat your crusts. They'll make your hair curly. The magical myth of curls through crusts. Some of us believed it, others didn't. But every slice of bread left unfinished brought this gentle reminder: don't waste food. After all, food was money, and nothing went in the bin. This old saying carried the quiet wisdom of generations who knew real hardship, and it taught us gratitude, one crust at a time. 4. If you keep pulling that face, the wind'll change, and it'll stay like that. Half warning, half comedy. This was classic British parenting. Pull too many silly faces and you'd freeze like a gargoyle, or so they said. It wasn't science, it was clever psychology. With one line, mums and dads could stop mischief in its tracks. Even now, many of us can remember freezing mid-grimace, just in case the breeze really did make it permanent. 5. You'll catch your death of cold, said with drama but full of care. Wet socks, damp hair, open coats. Cue the warning. It wasn't just about sniffles. It came from parents who remembered tougher times when a cold could turn serious. It was their way of saying, I love you, be careful. Wrapped in scarves and jumpers, we didn't always see the tenderness in those words back then, but we do now. 6. A little bird told me. This one sent shivers down every guilty child's spine. How did they always know? You'd sneak a biscuit, tell a white lie, and somehow Mum would find out. A little bird told me. The mystery worked wonders. It built honesty and just enough fear to keep us on the right track. The truth, of course, was that parents had eyes everywhere, or just knew us better than we knew ourselves. 7. There's no use crying over spilt milk. A phrase that summed up British practicality in one neat sentence. Make a mess, spill your drink, and instead of a scolding, you'd hear this calm reminder: accidents happen. Clean it up and carry on. As adults, we realize it was never just about milk. It was about life. Worry less about mistakes and more about moving forward. 8. You make a better door than a window, said with a smirk whenever you blocked the telly. Pure British humor. It didn't hurt, didn't scold, but you still moved out of the way. Underneath the wit was a bigger lesson. Be mindful of others, respect shared space, and don't stand in the way, literally or figuratively. It's one of those lines that still gets a laugh decades later. 9. That'll put hairs on your chest. Usually said after forcing down something grim. Cod liver oil, bitter tea, or grandma's cabbage stew. It was the old way of saying, toughen up. The saying turned discomfort into pride. You weren't suffering, you were growing stronger. It was part joke, part encouragement, and the perfect example of how British humour softened even the harshest medicine. 10. Don't sit too close to the telly. You'll get square eyes. Every family had this rule. Whether it was the flickering box in the corner or the early color sets, sitting too close was a crime. There wasn't much proof behind it, but it worked. It gave parents breathing room, protected their view, and taught balance, a kind of early screen time rule long before smartphones arrived. 11. If everyone jumped off a cliff, would you do it too? The ultimate parent comeback to, "But everyone else is doing it." It cut through peer pressure like a butter knife. It was direct, logical, and impossible to argue with. What it really taught was individuality, the courage to think for yourself, even when the crowd was louder. Generations later, it's still one of the most powerful lessons from childhood. 12. I'm not made of money. A cousin to Money Doesn't Grow on Trees, but Sharper. Delivered with half a smile, half a groan, it was the sound of hard-working parents reminding us that love didn't mean endless spending. It wasn't stingy, it was honest. It taught us to be grateful for what we had, and maybe to stop asking for that extra comic or chocolate bar at the shop. 13. Don't put your coat on inside. You won't feel the benefit outside. British logic at its finest. You'd be ready to leave, coat zipped, shoes on, and then came this phrase. It sounded odd, but it made perfect sense. Wait until you're outside, then you'll really feel the warmth. It became a ritual more than advice. And like many sayings on this list, it wasn't just about coats. It was about patience, timing, and doing things properly. 14. Wait until your father gets home. Few words froze a household like this one. It wasn't shouted, it didn't need to be. It carried quiet power. You could almost hear the clock ticking after it was said. The waiting, the suspense, that was the real punishment. It wasn't fear so much as respect. Parents used anticipation as discipline long before timeouts were invented, and it worked like magic. 15. What's meant for you won't pass you by. Among all the sharp and funny sayings, this one stands apart, soft, wise, and full of hope. It was whispered when you were disappointed or heartbroken. It reminded you that life had its own rhythm, and that patience often brought peace. It's a saying that has traveled through generations, offering quiet comfort to children who grew up, and to adults who still need to hear it, because every family had their own. You'll be laughing on the other side of your face. Go see a man about a dog. Children should be seen and not heard. Think of the starving children in Africa. Each one a little window into British life, funny, firm, and full of meaning. Those sayings from the 60s and 70s weren't just background noise. They were the moral compass of a generation, stitched with humor, thrift, and care. They reminded us to shut the door, save a penny, be kind, and carry on. And though times have changed, screens replaced radios and texts replaced telegrams, the words remain. So here's the real question. Which one do you still catch yourself saying? Share your favorite in the comments. And if these echoes take you back to a simpler time, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more nostalgic British memories.